Okay, everybody, welcome to the lockdown sessions presented by Wrestling Travel and our good friends over at Wrestle Merch Central in London. Today I'm excited because this is a very rare part two, and I'm welcomed nearly a year later. I'm welcoming PCO back to the show. PCO, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Justin. I appreciate it. It's gonna be fun because, to be honest, I've done quite a few since the last time, so I don't even remember what we did discuss like that much. So, be cool.
I'm the same way. I was going to get a chance to rewatch it, and I'm currently things have been so busy, thankfully, that we're keeping busy. That I thought, you know what, I love doing these. You and I have such a good rapport that I know we could we could do this off the top of our head. So first thing I want to talk to you is last time that we talked, we're in the middle of that pandemic where nobody was doing anything, and I think that was even before you guys were flying down to the Ring of Honor bubble. So tell me what it's been like now that you're actually, to be able to go from Canada into the US is still kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah. It's very much strict here in Canada than it is in the States, and I don't think we're doing so much better. You know, we got a curfew at 9:30 to 5 a.m. There's only 4 airports open. If you fly back to one of those airports, you got to do 3 days in their hotel. You got to pay $2,000, 3 days until you get a negative test, and then you have to quarantine at home when you go back home. But you know, that's what it is. But I've been flying through Vermont lately, so I'm avoiding that 3 days in prison, basically.
No, yeah, especially
because what happened is like people that wants to go on different vacation or anywhere, it's been down to 0 now with those new protocol. So it's been killing the airline business big time here in Canada.
Airline, and then of course we are Wrestling Travel, so travel has been affected for so long. We keep hoping we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, but
I can tell you there's light at the end of the tunnel, because the last weekend when I left Burlington and I flew to Charlotte and came back to Baltimore, because Burlington, Vermont is a small airport. It's not probably an hour away from my house, which I'm quite on the border, you know. So for me, it doesn't make a difference going from YUL, Montreal, or Burlington, Vermont, or even from Plattsburgh, New York. It's all close to my house, and it was jam packed. All the flights were packed. The airports were packed. I mean, man, I don't know if it's because it was Mother Day, but if it's going to be like that after pandemic, it's gonna be crazy. It was already crazy.
Do you drive over the border and then to the airport?
Yeah.
How is it?
My car.
Yeah. Is driving over the border any?
No, it's easy to go across. Coming back to Canada is another story, but going to the States, it's all right. I show my test because Ring of Honor always tests me. I have to take a swab test before I leave, like a couple of days before, and everybody has to do that in the company. And I'm showing that the agent border my test. He said, "I don't want to see it." It was like, they don't really care about it. No, it's not a problem to go to the States, but it's Canada is a problem right now. Canada is very, very strict.
Yes, and now. And I will get back to wrestling, but I'm curious, is the vaccine in Canada as available as it seems that it is here in the US?
We have vaccinated the same amount of percentage than in the US, which is about 30% of the population. But here we're doing it different. we're Canadians. So most people only had one dose, one shot.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're waiting 4 months for the second one. Instead of doing like it says 2 weeks
Uh,
after, they'd rather give it to as many people as they can, at least one, to protect as many people as they can, and then come with the second shot later. But I got mine in the States. So I got the Johnson and Johnson, the
I did
one
as well.
the one shot deal. I didn't want to. That's the most dangerous one. That's the one I want.
Yeah, that's what I got it. And that afternoon, after then they started banning it and everything, and I thought, oh, here we go. I picked the wrong one. You know
It's
what
not
they need?
even no, but they don't ban it because it doesn't work. They ban it because of maybe complication that could happen.
Right.
Because it's one of the safest one when you get it. I mean, as far as working as doing the job, it's one of the good one. Uh, but yeah, there could be complication. I like the AstraZeneca. So it's the Johnson and Johnson's not even like it hasn't received the green light yet in Canada, but it will. But because a few died from the AstraZeneca, so they want to go slowly and make sure that they study the cases, very well before they allow it. But like everybody who's crossing, I think Alberta to Montana can get the Johnson and Johnson. So it's the way it is.
What I think they need to do, because I spent a fair amount of time up in Canada, is they should give the shot at a Tim Hortons.
Yeah,
You got a Tim Hortons every 5. You're never more than
yeah,
like a few minutes. We're driving with Lee McAteer, who runs Wrestling Travel, who even today was still talking about seeing you in New York and you flying all over the place for
yeah,
Ring of Honor. He said to say hello, but
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
we were driving and we're in the middle of like a corn pasture, and I swear a Timmy Hortons just pops up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he,
Those are so popular. It would work. I think I've watched an interview last night or a TV report or something, and I think New York, the mayor of New York is given like a hamburger and a fry if you get vaccinated.
there you
I
go.
heard that. I don't know, but
Yeah.
any incentives are good. But I think the best one that United States came with today or yesterday was like people that are vaccinated, they don't have to wear the mask anymore if they gather together and things like that for different things. Going to a hockey game, a baseball game, a wrestling event, or whatever. So no matter what, I think we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I
Yeah.
was not big on getting the vaccine. I never got a vaccine for flu or for little things. I was like, in my mind, I was not going to get it, but there's no way that I'm going to see people with a mask while I'm not having a mask. So I'd rather have freedom and getting that vaccine because I think the vaccine is okay. But I was not big on getting it, not because I was afraid of it or anything like that. It's just that I like to work my human system as big as I can, and that's the way I see things. But I got it, and it doesn't bother me at all.
No, I was the same way. I didn't sure I wanted to get it, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to rather be safe, like you said, than sorry, and just take care, do whatever I need to do. Did you have any? Did you get sick afterwards of the Johnson and Johnson or
Not at
anything?
all. What about you? What about you?
Nah, you know what? I was a little tired. I tell you what, I got it in my left arm, and within 10 minutes, these two fingers went numb and tingly. And
Wow, were you scared for a little bit?
I
Were you
was. I
scared for a
raised my
while?
hand, and the lady said, "Don't worry about it." Yesterday, a guy's whole arm went numb, and I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't help me." But
Wow.
it went away. I got it on a
Yeah.
Thursday, and by Saturday, I was back. But it was a little nerve wracking. So then you never know. Um,
How your mind plays some tricks on you maybe sometimes because everybody was saying, yeah, when you get it, we want to wait after your match because your arm's going to be sore. My arm was never sore, so I guess it's different for everybody. And I keep telling them, you know, I'm not human. Don't worry about
You're
me.
not.
So,
Which brings
so
me to my
no,
next point. Every Monday night on
yeah,
your Twitter, your social media, and I'll go out and retweet it, but it's
yeah,
Monday
all the
night
time.
PCO, and it is phenomenal. I tell you what, I look for you. You make Monday nights. Usually Monday is the day where you're like, oh, I'm back to work, but you make Mondays look forward to, and those videos are incredible. And I know you guys work very hard on those. So
Oh, you got to be creative after 4 years. You know, you gotta create different contents all the time. And now we got a different formula where, okay, now we're shooting like three where it's like just like not not the monster really, but PCO, you know, in his everyday life training. And then once a month, it's Destro with the monster, like doing something crazy. Like the last big one we did was 2 or 3 weeks ago was when I got 2 plates of patio plates, cement patio plates. And Destro came with a sledgehammer from the top of the car, jumping off in the air and breaking the 2 plates on top of my head. So it was like a concussion training or something.
yeah, it's incredible, and and I'm telling anybody right now that you gotta follow your social media anyway. But these are incredible. Now you're in the gym on these videos all the time, like no slowing down. Now I gotta ask, and I know you can't really peek behind the curtain, but PCO is definitely not human. But is PCO ever sore the next day?
No,
Good.
no, that's one thing. Like I don't want to name anybody, but like sometimes we're in a ring and there's guys that come and go and things like that. And some guys are like, you know, like maybe mid 30s or in their 40s or something, and they're telling me how can you do it? I'm sore, you know, like, for me it's always like I'm I always looking forward to a bump or something like that. I just love those things, you know. It's like it's not something that hurts me. It's some things that I like that feeling. So it's pretty deep in my mind that I like those bumps, you know. So it's for me, it doesn't hurt at all. It's just so cool, so cool. So yeah, if I do get bumped out, you know, bump out somewhere, sometimes it could be you know, something that kicked in the side of the leg, or you know, if but just from bumping in the ring or bumping on around the ring or taking huge bump, that doesn't bother me at all. But of course, if you take a bump and your leg hits the guardrail and you know in between the posts or the poles or something like that, and you twist something, that's going to be like anyone else, but it doesn't it's not something that I the next day, you know, I just keep on walking on it. Like, yeah, some accidents did happen to me. I remember when we did the Crockett Cup, me and Brody King, and then we were against the Briscoes in the semifinal or something of the tournament, and the guy who did the ring forgot to put some paddings on the apron. So I took the big flip, the big senton on the apron with no paddings. So this one was hurting, you know, because it was not a regular ring. It was straight on the pins, straight on the woods. It was nothing at all, and the pins is always coming back to hold the board. So I was hitting some metal too,
Oh
and
yeah, the
I
edge
think
of that angle iron.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that I really felt it because I knew something was wrong with that ring, and the guy told me, oh, I was in a hurry and I forgot to do that side, and I remember I've seen Brody King at the hotel. It was hard for me to just put one foot in front of the other. And the next morning he saw me. He says, "What happened to you?" I said, I'm just back to normal. It just went away during the night, and it felt so great. The next morning, it was ready to go.
But you've
It was
got that
just,
strong body and you got that strong mind to go with it, PCO.
yeah.
That we know
I,
because you.
I, yeah, so that's why, I really think that characters fits me well, because it's really what I really portray, and what I really the way I am in real everyday life. It's not just, oh, I have to put on that character for playing this for that amount of time. It's me 24/7. It's just an exaggeration. It's just like and on a bigger scale that you see me, but it's really part of me. I would say most of this character, the French Canadian Frankenstein, most of it is who I am in real life.
Now, I want to talk to you about it. Obviously, you can't give anything away because you guys are just coming out of the bubble. But I watched a little clip of you and Danhausen talking.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Like he's one of those guys that's got a little buzz about him. And I know he's been around for a while, but he's hilarious. He's good in the ring. What are your thoughts on working with Danhausen?
I really enjoy it. I think it's getting over like $1 million too. Like all the comments, all the people are saying, like, I didn't know I needed PCO and Danhausen together. And I've seen so many of those comments, and a lot of good stuff. And it's awesome. It fits very well. It's like, I'm pretty serious. I'm pretty no, I don't really care about all the blah blah blah. And he's so full of it. So it contrasts. You have like a big contrast, big opposite. A big negative and a big positive, whatever. It's working for. Yeah, I think it's so cool, so cool. It fits perfectly.
It
The
does. I
two
was
characters.
really excited when I saw it. Those two characters, like you said, playing off each other and meshing. It's great. So I'm looking forward to more of that. Ring of Honor has treated you guys, from what I hear from everybody, has been ecstatic about the way Ring of Honor has treated everybody during this pandemic, taking care of you guys, making sure that first and foremost, they care about the fans. They want the fans to be safe, and they also want you guys as talent to be safe. Talk to me what it means to be working for a company like that is, showing so much care. I was almost going to say affection, but I guess it is a form of an affection for the talent.
Yeah, for them, safety comes number one. I mean, safety, security, health, if you want to put it this way. Never they're going to tell me we don't want you to do this because it's too dangerous in the ring. Creative, on the creative side of things, we got a lot of green lights. We pretty much, we have a lot of inputs on what we do. And it's cool. They let us be creative, and I think if I want to do something crazy, I think they trust my judgment in a way that I know my body and I know what I can endure or take or whatever. So I've never been questioned about, no, we'd rather not you do this or anything like that. So that's cool because who to know myself better than myself. But as far as the whole thing, they're first class all the way. It's a super company, and I think a lot of people might underestimate how professional they are. I see some guys that come in from the indie scene sometimes for a few matches, and they're impressed with the way the hotel that we got, the way the transportation, the shuttles, the athletic commissions in Baltimore, everything's set in place, everything's organized. There's a lot of people working for the company, very important, people that are, I don't want to say important as powerful people. I don't think power means important necessarily, but important when they have huge responsibility and they all deliver, which I think it's cool. And my hats off to the whole team, from top to, from the president to the vice president, the general manager, the booker, and everyone else around, traveling, scheduling, everything. Because when you condense everything like that, you have days with promos. You don't want the guys to wait there for a whole day, so it has to be very organized. Where, yeah, you may wait 2-3 hours, which is basic. It's like that on regular TV tapings. But the way that we do, starting early in the morning and working all day until 6, and having like each of us have like a dress, dressing room and a chair, and we're all apart from each other, and it's so professional, So it's so professional. Everything's handled like first class, and the fact that during the whole thing, they took care of everybody. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's great.
From the outside looking in, whether this is a good analogy or not, but it seems like a family, just from top to bottom, of working together, and everybody cares about each other, and it's a first-class organization. And I want to mention to anybody right now, get the Ring of Honor app, join the Honor Club, because it's a great way to see everything that's going on with Ring of Honor. In case,
and also I think if there's a big show coming up, let's say when the Madison Square Garden came up, I think everybody that was already part of Honor Club could get like a little discount, a little 10% or something. So you have access to the library, to tons of like great names that have been there and that are there, and from past to present to eventually future, but future events and things like that. So it's worth it. It's really worth it. It's very affordable. It's very good, and it's awesome.
And I think you even get discounts on merchandise and everything, like the Ring.
Yeah, all kinds of special. Yeah, it's worth it.
Great.
It's really worth it for a good wrestling fan. Saving a lot of money and making a lot of good acquisitions and get good things. Yeah.
We're even though I'm in the United States, wrestling travel is based in the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom has been locked down for a long. They're starting to kind of come out of it, but still live events are still a few weeks or a few months away. So it's a good chance to catch up on things, hitting that on. I think even just having the app on your phone, they give you access to that week's television show too, which is outstanding. But you got to go Honor Club to get the history, and what a history they have.
Wow, it's pretty. Sometimes I'm watching match that I did not know that it exists. Like their names. Like sometimes I've seen Ric Flair, I've seen Steamboat, like things that sometimes you don't even know. So it's pretty cool. When CM Punk came back after being with Vince, he came back for a couple of matches or a match. There's so many things that you will be surprised, when you get Honor Club, that you have access to.
Yeah, and you look at the past, but I gotta tell you, look at the right now, because the right now is still, you got so much talent there, and I've been very lucky the last 2 times to interview young guys like Sledge, LSG. You've got a lot of talent, and they're hungry, and those guys are so proud of Ring of Honor and the rest of the talent. just being there. That I mean, LSG was just super excited to be on the kickoff show on the last pay-per-view when we talked, and what a phenomenal show, and how awesome is it when, and he wasn't just selling it to me. You could tell when somebody's passionate.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah.
We want to do our best.
Yeah, it's and there's, like you said, there's plenty of good talent. And I think coming out of the pandemic, I think we can surprise a lot of people, I think, as a company. Because I think the way we did everything during the pandemic, we concentrated on our own project, on our own company, on what we can control. We didn't get like too much, okay, then they're doing that or they're doing that, we got to do this. We were following, like, I'd say, a plan, and it was always a plan to to go live eventually. I think we didn't rush it during the pandemic. I think it would have been like maybe, not as good as when everything will be like running full capacity everywhere. And I think it will be a lot of excitement for the wrestling business, and especially for the Ring of Honor events. And I wouldn't be surprised coming out of that tunnel on the other side. I think we've got to collect for all the efforts that's been made during that pandemic. Every business, your business, like you can, like, I think coming out on the other side, I think for the time that you've been waiting and working hard and getting ready, and if it's to increase your let's say your social media's aspect, increase your marketing aspect, increase different aspect of the company to make sure that when everything goes back, we're ready to go. And I think that's what we've done. I think that's what we did at Ring of Honor. I think coming out on the other side, people will be really, really surprised.
I think so too. And I think the energy from the fans and the energy from you guys are going to feed off each other, and that those first few shows with fans are going to be just, I think it's
going to be crazy. And I think from a little glimpse that I've lived at the airports, different airports this weekend, it's going to be hard to go to a restaurant or to go to an event, a live event. I think people are going to go nuts. I mean, they've been like locked down for how long? I mean, when I mean locked down, especially here in Canada, like we're not even allowed to go to a restaurant. Like, so we're only like delivery only, takeout. It's been like that for a year and a half almost. So when you let the people go to concert, wrestling shows, restaurant, bars, I just see it like it's going to be like an after war thing,
Yeah,
like it was after wars. Yeah,
party,
that's what pretty much I don't know if you heard that, if you're on the same page as me, maybe I see it bigger than it actually is, but from The Economist and like all kind of people that are, studied the last two big wars and the way that the economy boomed after. I think that's why if you're a business owner and then you haven't opened a restaurant for a year and you hold tight and you work hard and you keep it open, I think it's going to be worthwhile. And I think it's the same thing for the wrestling companies that will be able to stay in business and that will be able to put on great shows once the pandemic is behind us.
I can't wait. We've been waiting. I need to find myself at the same show where you're at so I can watch. And you and I need to fist bump or hit elbows or whatever it is. Now, a couple more questions because I want to be respectful of your time. I know it's been a long day. It is Friday night, May 14th, 2021. If you're watching this in the future, I just wanted to get your thoughts I just learned before we got on the air. We didn't talk about this, but it's been reported that New Jack has passed away tonight. So, do you have any thoughts or memories of meeting or hanging out with New Jack that you can share with us?
Didn't hang out with him that much, but I was part of a show in Puerto Rico, and Bushwalker Luke was the booker, and it was a tag. I wasn't part of it, but I was in the dressing room. It's pretty heavy. It's in Puerto Rico. It's a pretty violent place, Puerto Rico, and there's a hardcore match with Pondo, you know,
Madman Pondo?
Yeah, Pondo.
Yeah.
Madman Pondo, Cactus Jack, Hangman Hughes, a guy from Canada, and it was another guy. There were 4 guys, and Hughes and New Jack almost had a fist fight the previous date that New Jack came to Puerto Rico. It was like it was big heat between the 2 of them. They didn't like each other. But the 4 of them, they managed to work the whole dressing room where they pretended that they still didn't like each other, but they had worked out their things together. So before they go for the match, New Jack saying, no, Pondo's got to jump off the truck. And Hughes doing, no, it's too dangerous. He can't jump off the truck. No, he's going to jump off the truck. And then they make it almost like into a fight. So they go there and they have their match, and Pondo's jumping off the truck, and then the match end up. Whoever's going over is going over, and then Pondo's coming back in the dressing room, and he's yelling. He's like, "I broke my leg, and I broke my leg." And he's got those legs, that double jointed leg, so he can put his foot the other way around without hurting himself. So he had placed his leg like that. So Cowboy Hughes says that he pretends like he just knows about it. I told you, MF, you shouldn't do that, and this and that. So Pondo got the kendo. He wanted to swing Hughes. So Hughes grabbed a pair of knives. And when you know the history, with what happened with Bruiser Brody.
Right.
And then the other one's gonna have knife, and then he's fighting for. So all the Puerto Rican guys, he grabbed their guns and their wrestling bags. They all have a gun, so they all grabbed their gun. They were ready to shoot New Jack, and then Luke is going crazy. Call 611. Call 611. He wanted the ambulance. He was not even saying 911. He was saying 611. He's all excited. He goes crazy. Guys, relax. And then eventually they all said, nah, it's just a rib. We just ribbed you, Luke. And it was a hell of a rib because he almost died that night. Like everybody was ready to shoot on somebody. And I think it was Jack, to be fair with you. But they had us. They had me. I never seen so many guns in the wrestling dressing room. It was crazy. It was so crazy. I knew how it was over there, but that night it really, proved me that anything can happen there. So that's the memory I've got from Jack.
That is a great story.
Yeah, but he was cool there. I got along okay with him. I didn't see him that much that night, and he was all right with everybody. Yeah, you hear stories, but never had any beef with him or anything. I'm kind of. How old was he?
58 is what they said. Yeah,
I think there's a lot of young for dying.
Oh yeah.
It's not 70. It's not 80. It's not even. It's pretty crazy. What was the cause of the death?
They're reporting a heart attack. So,
well, just like Animal. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, because that just happened. I just heard about it, maybe an hour or two ago. But
I've seen it too. I've seen those posts. Rest in peace, New Jack. So I knew maybe we would talk about it a little bit because I've seen it was coming pretty big on the social media. So that's a story I had, and yeah. That's it. I didn't know him.
Yeah, and our thoughts go out to his family and many friends. But I'm glad, as I've started to ask you that question, I'm thinking, boy, I hope I'm not breaking the news to you. So I'm actually glad that you had seen it, because I knew you had a busy day. So
yeah, no, no, and nothing surprised me in the business when I hear people passing. It's not a big. Sometimes it's shocking, but it's like in the back of my subconscious, I know that guys are dropping like flies, somehow, somewhere, for whatever reasons.
And it just seems to happen. Hopefully this doesn't, but in clusters, it'll seem like we lose one, and then all of a sudden we're losing another. But on to a better topic. I've got two more questions for you, because like I said, I want to be respectful. I want to talk to you because I could ask you a million questions and I'd keep you on for 6 hours and nobody would watch. But one of the questions I had wanted to ask last time was, can you talk to me about the Brawl for All versus Dr. Death, Steve Williams? And I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, but just a little peek behind the curtain of how you guys were feeling. And I mean, do you actually say anything to each other? Or are you just going to go out and say, hey, let the best man win?
Well, I think when I got a phone call, I was doing some. I had been off for a while. I was under contract, but it was a point where they didn't know what they were going to do for me. So they were thinking about an idea or a character or something. And so it happened that I was in my house and the phone rang, and I had a lot of people at my house, like my kids and my dad and my mom and some uncles and aunts and their kids, and playing in the pool. And Bruce Pritchard called me and says, hey, Carlos, Vince got a great idea for you. So I'm all excited. Oh, yeah. What is it? So it was, it's going to be like a tournament. It's a shoot tournament, we fight for real. And, you get 5,000 per match. And as you go up on the card, semifinals, 25 grand. Quarterfinal, 25, semifinal, 50, and if you win the whole thing, it's 100. So you could make I think 250 or 200 once you, let's say, like Mark Gunn, if you win the whole thing, and not maybe 6 weeks. I say it was kind of short. It was like maybe 2 months long. It was like not a full year. So as excited as I was to say Vince got an idea for you, by the time I realized, okay, now I'm going to have to fight Dr. Death, and everybody was talking about that he should have won the whole thing because he had the reputation, he was a bully. He was a bully too, like he would toss young guys in the dressing room. I've seen him. I've seen him come in the dressing room, banging his head on the lockers and pushing young kids away. This is my place and things like that. He would use he was very intimidating with the young kids. And he was rolling on a big reputation for himself that he had made in Japan. We also had the coach Hoagland from the and the NFL that says that he one time had 100 stitches and he kept on playing. And, that played that part. I can't remember the name of the coach, but it's a very well known coach in the NFL for the old Oakland Raiders. He was a coach at that time when Steve Williams was playing for them, and he was putting him over big time. That was before I was fighting him in the corner of the screen. So I had only 1 or 2 week notice. I didn't have notice. It was like thrown at the last thing to me. and your opponent's going to be Steve Williams, Dr. Death. So he'd be the first round, against him. So I said, okay, I'm in. I'm going to do it. And a lot of people from the business were saying, no, don't do it. It's not going to be good for your career. You can get injured, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I went to see a coach, MMA coach at that time. It wasn't very popular, but it was some. So I grabbed a guy. I asked him if he wanted to be my corner, because what they would do, they would give you a generic coach. You had two coaches, one in the blue corner and one in the red corner. It was just a hazard, and the guy would coach all the same guys the same way. Okay, now do this. You have to level your game. You under in the points. You have to do this, do that. It was very basic. It's coaching. You couldn't really build a bond. You didn't have time to build a bond with any coach, or nobody would knew what was your strength or what you had to work on or things like that. So it was thrown there really fast in 2 weeks. So I was there. So I'm having a match with Hedge one night, and Steve Williams at guerrilla position. He's watching my match, and he's oh, it's pretty good. A 10-minute match, didn't blow out at all. Didn't blow off. Like you did stamina, blah blah blah. So he was looking at me to see, what was gonna come. So by the time I bring my coach on the road, they canceled the first Monday that I was supposed to fight. So I'm paying the coach itself, his expenses, his room, his flights. And then that night, no, we're not going to do it this Monday. We'll do it the next Monday. So I didn't eat all day. I was spiking like this for that fight. And then no fight. So I got discouraged a little bit. So the next week, I didn't bring the coach because it was too expensive, the whole 9 yards. Had to bring someone. It's hard to bring someone with you with all the boys when the person's not from around the business. Because they're asking, who is he? Why is he there? What's the point? This, that. So finally, the match happened. Hawk of the Road Warriors, he came up to me. He goes, Carl, Steve. Steve's crazy, man. He's gonna kill you out there. He's gonna rip you apart. So he says, Steve said that when he's gonna tag you, the glove, just go down. Just pretend you're knocked out. And pick up your $5,000 and go home. And that pissed me off. I was so pissed off. And I look at Hawk. I said, go back to Steve and tell him to fuck himself, and he's in for the fight of his life. I don't give a shit about him. Just tell him that. And yeah, I felt like then we had that match, and then he won. But I had a few takedowns on him, had points on him. I felt if I was prepared a little bit better for that type of fight, I could have done. Maybe I could have surprised, but when I was entering this thing, I was hoping to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's my mindset when I was entering. But then I was not prepared for because he was an all-time All-American for the wrestling, and I didn't know much about amateur wrestling, so he had me with a few takedowns that I didn't come in. But like for points to points, I don't think he was punching that hard or he was that dangerous with his punch. Nonetheless, I've lost, and but I think I made a good name with the company. I think that was after the whole schmoz with Diesel, and I think they wanted to test me to see, if I was saying something, if I was gonna hold on to my words, or if I was chicken shit or whatever. So I backed up. I backed up my words. I didn't try to avoid things. I didn't say no, I don't want to be part of it. I didn't say I don't have enough time to train for it. I didn't have any excuses for them. I just told them, okay, I'm going to be there. And I tried to win the thing, with one eye. So, which is, it's all right for me because I've been like that since I'm 12.
Right.
But Steve Williams on his way to win the whole thing with Bart gone, he was on top of everything. And in the last bit of the match, Bart came up with a huge left and it just crushed him. So then Bart got crushed by Butterbean. So
Right.
it was,
Oh wow. Yeah.
yeah. I think they were trying to, at the end of this, they were trying to, like Bart says that they try to hurt him with Butterbean. But from my side of the story, they really thought that Bart was a great boxer and then he could take on Mike Tyson. That was the big picture. That didn't go accordingly. If you talk to JBL, he's going to say that's him being drunk one night and saying that he could beat everybody in the dressing room. And Vince Russo is going to say that's how he shot the idea to Vince after having that discussion with JBL. So, and I think Jim Ross thought that that Steve could have won the whole thing, and I think if once he was going to go through everybody, he was supposed to have a run with Steve Austin. So there's a lot of different takes on that, but from what I lived and what I heard and every discussion that was part of, it felt like they wanted to have that Mike Tyson Bart Gunn fight eventually, and they were hoping for Bart to go to go up against Butterbean, but no. So when you look at it, the way it ended up with Bart and Butterbean, it's like it didn't make anybody looks good.
No.
It didn't make the winner looks good. I think he should have had like a run of some sort because he
Yeah.
won the whole thing and he deserved it. And I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't get a push after that. So he ended up taking Steve Williams' place for All Japan Pro Wrestling. So he ended up having a big push in Japan, Bart. But that was pretty much the end for Steve Williams after that. And there was a lot of injuries. Like Savio Vega got injured. I think JBL got injured because he got knocked out like pretty hard by Bart. Like he was the bacon dance, He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bart had some solid KOs there. He was knocking out people solid. So that was something that I was also very proud of. It's like I left on my feet. I didn't get knocked out. For me, that was very important. I didn't want to get knocked out on national TV. And I know it's not a good way to think when you're a fighter, MMA fighter, or a boxer. That doesn't mean anything. It's part of the part of the game. You get knocked out sometimes, and you work better on your craft, and then you come back. And but the whole thing was maybe boring for the fans, but it was sold out at the monitor.
I was gonna say it had to be a locker room sellout. Yeah.
Every TV tapings, all the boys were watching, and they were it was like better than any watching that crowd there. The boys watching the TV of two of the boys fighting against each other. This was worth money, man. They should have had TV on the boys watching the boys. That would have been money.
So following that up, my question for you is, if for some crazy reason, 2021, Ring of Honor said, hey, we're going to do shoot fights like that, are you in? Or are you going, hey?
Probably. I'm probably in.
I figured.
I'm probably in.
That's...
Yeah, because of course all the sports has evolved, but I have evolved too. I have done like a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which I didn't know nothing about. But that contest was only takedowns and 5 points when you touch the target, which was the whatever's the head, or yeah, I don't know what was the target for them. We didn't even know. I guess I was trying to aim for the head,
It's
anyways.
whatever.
But
Yeah.
but body shots good too. But I wasn't aware that much of all that. That you go downstairs and that opens upstairs and things like that. I've learned that over the years after that because I've done a lot of little boxing here and there, karate here and there, a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was part of many tournaments in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I really like that. I think it's a really good sport where you're constantly have to push yourself out of the comfort zone because you feel like you're always fighting for your life there, even if it's just a small contest, because you don't want to get submitted or you got pressure on your throat or you have an arm squeezed and you don't want to tap out, and I think you always push yourself out of the comfort zone. Sometimes you're going to a class where it's going to be big guys and maybe purple belts and brown belts, and it's going to be tough. So you have to push yourself out of the house to get into that to go roll with those guys. And I think it made me really get out of my comfort zone. It really pushed me hard. That's why I really love those every tournament that I took part of. Like I always like class very good. I've won a few, and I think I finished second in the other one at the Montreal Open. And it's tough because when I walk into like a tournament or something, they know it's PCO, so it doubles my pressure.
Right.
It's not just a guy, whatever name, coming to. It's like the last guy knew me. He was a fan of me, and then he's fighting against me, and then he's trying to prove to all his class and his friends that he's stronger than PCO or he's better than PCO. So it adds pressure for me, when I do compete, which I was when I was not wrestling full time. It's kind of hard now. Everything is closed. All the gym are closed. The jiu-jitsu class been closed for almost a year and a half, so can do that. But having more coaches, more knowledges, it's probably something that I would do. But I don't think it's a good angle for any wrestling idea.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Couple more questions. The one thing I want to touch on was very inspiring for me last summer as you made your way towards Montreal Olympic Stadium. Can you talk about not just the physical but the mental? What was you just were pushing on, and it was very awesome,
very mental
for me. Yeah,
all mental because I hadn't run before that, and just out of the blue I decided that I was going to run 43 miles, and whatever time it would take me, I was going to, no matter what, I would finish it on my feet, and I would touch the Olympic Stadium as a symbol that how bad do I want it? How bad do I want to perform in this building, and to fill it up, and to make it more tangible, like to have the feel for, okay, that's what I want. That's what I want. So I started to run, and my times was not good at all. It took me 24 hours and 20 minutes for 43 miles. But I'd say after 20 miles, my feet were shot. Like I was bleeding from my feet. I showed during the race, but I showed my feet. I showed my everything, like the pain that I had and everything. I really had to push through and to make it all the way there. And I knew that at one point, I was gonna pass all that pain and be able to override all the pain and everything. And I did get a little push towards the end. And then maybe just 4 kilometers before I completed the parkour, it was tough. It was really painful. And to me, when I reached and I touched the wall of when I touched the stadium itself, I had to go up a hill where the entrance is. And I don't know, I was so emotional because it was like almost if I had realized that dream that I've wanted, like I always wanted to perform in the Olympic Stadium, and I still want to perform that, and that's why I did it. I did it to impress my subconscious. I did it to impress myself, to let myself know what I'm after. What am I after? You know, what do I want to pursue? What's my goal? And to keep that in the back of my mind all the time, and to remind me that it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be tough, you know. But even if it's gonna be tough, going through pain and to some misery, eventually it's gonna pay off. And that's what we've been living with the pandemic. You know, it's been pushing a lot of plans on the sides, but you know, I just try to stay on track, be ready, not quit in the middle of the parkour, and then stay focused and keep my eyes there, and make this happen like I did with my run-ins. So since then, when I ran that, I did that. I've been running. After that, I was running 2 kilometers per day, and then I brought it up to 4, and eventually I want to do like distances like this, but in a time where you know you're allowed to complete the course. So running maybe the Boston Marathon and the Montreal Marathon. This is 2 things that I want to do in when it's going to be doable, when it's going to be reopened. So that's 2 marathons that I want to run. So I always have a lot of goals.
Well, that's
I
good.
can just sit down and not doing anything, but I think it's good for my character too. You know, if I run, let's say I do the Boston Marathon, I think it gives me good publicity too for the Monster forever. You know, for whatever I do. You know, I think it just it keeps me the guy goes. You know, he can go and he goes. You know, and he does thing, and he's not waiting at home, sitting on his ass waiting for things to happen. He makes things happen. That's my thoughts.
It was inspiring for me sitting on my ass and watching it, just to watch you go through that emotions. And it just, you know, every time there was an update, and then watching the emotion as you neared that stadium, and watching you were PCO, you were Carl, you weren't anything but yourself, bleeding through those emotions. And that's something that I can't be the only one, even if nobody says it, that was very inspiring and very emotional for all of us. So if you haven't, you know, people that are watching, go back and take a look at those videos. And I'll tell you what, if you run the Boston Marathon or whatever marathon, I will speak for myself and Wrestling Travel. We will throw some type of sponsorship behind that and help you out with that goal.
Oh, that's cool.
Would be fantastic to
yeah, appreciate that.
So
appreciate
last, I know I say 2 questions.
No, don't worry.
But my final question is always going to be, you know, promoting how we can follow you. But my final question, just to go on a huge positive, have you ever, and I wanted to do this with this show, talk about different collectibles and stuff, but have you kept any memorabilia from your time, either in WWF, WCW, or wherever you were? Are there a couple pieces that you kept? Because I know
there's a couple, but you know, sometimes you go to a phase in your life where you say, why am I keeping all this? Right. And you throw a lot. And now I realize sometimes just the hearse, you know, it's been battered. And sometimes I want to throw it at the junk, but the distro is reminding me, no, there's something, we could like make a big, let's say you do the Olympic Stadium, and we come in with the car and this, and after that you make a big, people have the chance to win it with the number if they pay $10 or whatever, and you give that to charity. And for some people, it's going to be cool to have like the hearse at PCO Industrial have been running for 4 or 5 years, and up and down because we brought it to Baltimore for final battle. We came back to Montreal with it. We've done all the videos with it. So I'm trying to keep now, even all my Ring of Honor run. I kept all the shirts, all the stuff, some boots, I kept some, but WWE, WCW, ECW, I don't have that many. I threw a lot in the garbage, because sometimes it felt like, okay, if I want to open another page in my book, I'm gonna have to get rid of the old pages. That was my
Yeah.
mindset, but it's got nothing to do with what you have. I should have kept as much as I could. So I managed to keep a few Quebecer shirt, and some of the boys were asking me for it, but sometimes I cut the sleeves, but I still got it. But it's not like all perfect. But I've done this with other things after that. I managed to protect and to give it to my mom so she could put it in care. I might end up with a few things at the end, but I'm fighting hard to keep the hearse because maybe we might do something big with it. And also all my PCO's Not Human outfits, the one with Walter,
Yeah.
those, I've been keeping a lot of them lately because I realized that there's a lot of people that wants those things, that are pretty crazy about souvenirs. So, and I do have a lot of demands for signing cards, signing pictures, signing photos. Yeah, it's a pretty big market out there. It's amazing. It surprises me all the time how big it is.
I grew up in Wisconsin, so I was a huge AWA fan. And when I first got to see, I had programs autographed by Baron von Raschke, Wahoo McDaniel, Ray the Crippler Stevens, and somehow, like your mom's comic books, you lose them. But 2 years ago, I think I drove like 2 hours because, at my age and being in the business, but I was still like, hey, Baron von Raschke is there. I got to go shake his hand, get my picture and an autograph. And a lot of people call that being a mark. And if that's being a mark, then color me a mark because I grew up watching the guy, and that was awesome. And 79 years old at the time, Von Raschke, and he looked like he could still go.
The whole mark things, that's something that bothers me sometimes in the business because if a young hockey player wants to get his photo taken, or he's get the Sidney Crosby sticks or the Mario Lemieux hockey sticks, and he becomes a Connor McDavid, or he becomes a Cole Caulfield or whatever, and he becomes a big superstar eventually. What was he, a mark, or the fact that he was a fan made him a good hockey player? Or like when you've watched Kevin Owens and the Chris Jericho angle, when Kevin showed his posters in every room, he had Jericho's posters, he had like watching all the DVDs and everything, and you could say he was a mark. But that the fact that he was a fan, I was a fan too. Like I was a fan of the WWE when I was a kid, the Hogan, the Bob Orton, the Paul Orndorff, and so even the Rockers, Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, the AWA, because at one point we had the AWA coming through in Montreal. I was watching their show at the casino in Vegas, I guess. So, Kurt Hennig and all that. So that made me a fan. That made me who I became. And same thing for hockey. And and look at you now. You're not a wrestler, but your job is getting, traveling and helping others to have a better trip and to have more fun. And so it's not just about becoming a wrestler, it's everything around it, promoters, um, traveling, all kinds of stuff, so it's I think it's a good thing. And it's been looking as negative being a mark. And
Yeah, no, and
and
I just heard it from other boys in the business, and I was like, if I'm a mark, then I'm a mark, but we all are. That's why I started training back in '97. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
was on the independent scene for a cup of coffee, but now what I like to do, and wrestling travel gives me that avenue. I've got talent contacting me. Can you please introduce me to promotion X, Y, Z, or I can talk to promotion and say, we'd like to work with you, but hey, I got a kid here who's working hard. Can you take a look at him? And we've been very lucky to introduce different talents to different promotions. And I always say I try to do the things that, not that nobody did do for me, but nobody could do at that time. Just
yeah,
try to introduce
yeah.
person A to person B. And
Yeah, go ahead.
so I was gonna say, and I always get asked this, and besides PCO, everybody always asks me my favorite wrestler, and I take no shame in it. But a lot of people will give me a hard time. But it's been Greg Gagne since I was a little
Oh,
kid, and because that was the
but
first guy I saw. He was great,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
takes so much bashing from people that I feel do not understand the business. And I will never apologize for liking Greg. And I
Oh, that's cool.
someday I would love to have Greg on the show, but I have no way of getting a hold of him yet. But I will get you on here, Greg.
But I know he does a few because I've heard some interviews with him in it, and he's got some good Mad Dog Vachon stories, pretty crazy stories. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great guest for you, and yeah, be awesome. And also, I think that's why uh, wrestling travels like they top class company. I think because they can, all you guys can put, you can imagine yourself being a fan and what you would want as a product, and you can offer what the people want because you can switch side with them, put yourself in their shoes, and that makes you a better service, for everybody that wants like a super package.
Appreciate it. We work hard, and it's not that we don't make mistakes, is that good mistakes, because we learn from them. And one day when we're free and clear of this pandemic, I always like to have a surprise guest or two show up at one of our things. And hopefully one day it's 200 fans greeting PCO as he comes into our pre-show party and stuff. So it'll happen. We'll get you. We'll get
Yeah,
you.
I think as things going to start to speed up towards normal more now. I'm pretty sure 2022 is going to be a good year.
And I can't wait. So final question is always my favorite question, and it's always the same. So it's going to be easy for you. The fans watching this, where can they find you on social media? Where can they find any PCO merchandise? Obviously, we want people to go to the Honor Club and watch Ring of Honor because there's fantastic work going on. But plug away, my friend.
Yeah, at ROH merch also for the merch, pro wrestling tees as usual. You got a lot of merch too. But for me, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, the handle is at PCO is not human, and my YouTube channel, which is the one that I'm trying to grow now. I want to put more content. I want to try to help out more people and whatever they do. I'm trying to maybe start to tell a little bit of my story too in between all the videos that are coming out. The workout videos and things like that. I'm trying to find a formula where to engage with the people. I want to get a feedback from them. I want them to ask me questions. I want to answer questions at PCO Pierre Carl Wallet on YouTube. So I'm really trying to grow that channel now. I'm going to put a lot of effort into that in a few weeks to come. So I think, yeah, that's what it is for me.
Worth checking out. One piece of advice for everybody looking to get on your YouTube that I found out the hard way is don't just go to PCO's YouTube and hit subscribe and then walk away. You need to actually find some time to watch part of the video, because I found that if they don't watch 30 seconds to a minute of it, if they just subscribe and walk away, which they did to my channel, it counts as a subscription, but the next day it's gone because YouTube thinks it's a robot or whatever it is. So please subscribe, watch. If you don't have a lot of time, watch a minute or so of a video and then come back and obviously watch the rest of the video. You subscribe.
Once they scroll on my channel, it's impossible that they don't either watch a PCO Walter, or they don't find at least one thing that they can watch, you know, for a full length, you know. So
and I'm talking about the people that are going, hey, I want to support PCO. I'll just go subscribe real quick. It's got to stick. So, man, I tell you what, I am very, very hopeful that we get a chance to do this down the road for a third time, because I've got plenty of questions left in the tank. You're one of my favorite guests on here. I love your stories. The stories that you shared tonight are fantastic. So please go to PCO's. PCO is Not Human on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously let's support the YouTube channel. So, my friend, until we see each other again, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin.